This is Daniel from the IT Mafia, and here, as promised, I will have a build log. This is the motherboard we are using, the MSI AM1i. This motherboard works, that's why it was chosen. And this is the CPU we'll be using. It is a AMD Sempron 3850 CPU, clocked at 1.3 GHz. And we're going to be using the stock cooler, but we're not going to be using the stock thermal paste because I have lots spare that I don't want to use up. So this is of course the case. We've already seen an overview of this. I will put a link in the description to when I was taking a better look at this case. And it has the stand. And here is the hard drive, and I already attached the mounting brackets for the hard drive because I want to see how I could get it mounted before I did the build. It was pre-planned. And this is the motherboard. As you can see, it's Mini-ITX, so it goes with the case pretty well. And we'll be able to see it better when we take it out of the anti-static bag. And generally how you build it is based on preference. Never use these in your build. I don't know if you can see that because that's kind of white on white.
It works.
But these contain metal in them, and if you keep them in there for too long, that will degrade and it can affect your components. But this is the board. As you can see, it is absolutely tiny. Like, I have average size hands, and as you can see. So on this board we have two RAM slots, the AM1 socket itself. The CMOS battery I find quite weirdly attached by right here. A single 4-pin connector. This made no sense to me because there's no antenna on the board, but it does have a mini PCIe port. Probably use that for SSDs if you can, but you'll have a hard time trying to find an SSD that small. First thing I'm going to do is install the RAM. As you can see, there is barely any RAM in this system. This system has one side that doesn't clip back and one side that does. And what you do with this, you put the RAM in on one side, get everything lined up. That's the problem with this type of recording, is everything is done impromptu. Push down, and the RAM clicks in place. That won't move, and that is installed. We are only using one RAM DIMM, SODIMM in this system. Now, for the processor, I should probably open it with scissors, but I don't have any currently in my hand. And this one is so much better recording with two people.
Magic of filming.
The magic of filming, indeed. Impromptu filming is not as good. As you can see, these are quality broken scissors, because I was trying to cut a cable tie and I snapped the handle with the scissors. Because I'm smart.
The only type of scissors you need, broken scissors.
Exactly. Working ones are nice as well. But as you can see, that's the stock cooler we'll be using. One thing I hate about this cooler is it only uses a 3-pin fan, which means it's going to be loud. So I have a fan controller that I'll probably chuck in at some point, but that won't be in the build guide because if it's not too loud and it's bearable, then I'll actually not use it. As you can see, the CPU is poorly packaged in this, and you should always be quite delicate with your CPUs. One thing I recommend that you should do before taking the CPU out of the plastic thing is open the socket by pulling back on this lever, and there'll be a corner on the APU itself, and you want to line that up with the missing corner on the board. There also should be an arrow on it somewhere. I love the sound that the camera's making. And as you can see, that CPU is in place. It's called a zero insertion force socket because when placing the CPU down, there is no force, and that CPU is now locked into the motherboard, all nice and tiny as it is. Now, this is the part I haven't looked into, and will be iffy with installing, and that is the stock cooler itself. This is the mounting hardware that you get given with the processor itself. One for each corner. From what I'm looking at, what I'm assuming is we have to put the pins underneath. As you can see, it's quite crap. It's stock thermal paste. It's crap in my opinion. Because I did some.
Do you have any other thermal paste you can put?
Oh yeah, I do in the corner. But we'll probably build it like this first, get everything tested, and then once the system is built, we'll change the thermal paste then.
Why is worse from the master band?
Why is trying to getting things done? My new case is over there. It's the Silencio 352. If you want me to do a video on that later, if anyone actually sees this, then
I am important. I deserve to be felt.
as you can see, each one has these tiny stupid bags, but keep these tiny stupid bags because they're useful for keeping screws in at a later point. More wise words. Now we even give you that tip for free. There's a sticker on it. I'm assuming this is how it is done. Assuming, because I haven't looked into it. So, I actually don't know how this cooler is actually installed, and I'm just going off of doing it on the spot. So it'd be so funny if I was doing it wrong, but I wouldn't know.
No, that looks about right.
I hope so. That clicked.
When it clicks, it works.
If it clicks, it probably works. Aye, I think that's in.
Should be. Once you pick it up by it, it should be in. Yeah,
Yep, that's in.
in.
Hey! And there's a CPU fan 1, and that. Oh, look at that. Sysfan 1 has
It's 4 pins.
has 4, but CPU fan 1 has 3.
That's because that's only for the. Because it's for the branded or something.
Yeah, it's because the stock cooler only uses 3. But one thing that I am going to do, because of my bountiful supplies, my bountiful supply of zip ties. I haven't opened this packet. I do have an open packet, but I accidentally dropped it behind my safe drawers, and I can't be bothered to get it.
Back to the magical broken scissors.
Yep, I tell you, these things are pretty good for broken scissors. Don't worry, I'm not cutting all the way through.
When it falls.
When zip tie bag falls. And these are the ideal for cable managing inside your case, but they can cause this, broken scissor disease. So use it at your own caution. And what I like to do, it's a bit fiddly.
Well, I recommend getting high quality scissors.
Okay, yes, fair statement, very good statement, is basically wrapping up the cable and getting the zip tie around it. I probably should be speaking and talking you through this, but I have to concentrate to make sure I get it right. And just grouping a cable together to make sure that the cable does not get too far away from the CPU fan itself. Now the way I did it was kind of dodgy, but there you go, it's all bundled up. It's not getting in the way, it's not moving around much. Do I break the scissors again? Oh, you do not know how much that hurts. Because I have
Take
to...
the camera, let me do it. Take the camera.
No. Hey, good man. As you can see, that zip tie is nice and cut, everything is there, as and how it should be.
Apart from the end of it, it's gone back behind the drawers.
I can get it later too. But that's the motherboard.
Yeah, that's the case.
As it's supposed to be.
Elite camera angles for the win.
Okay, now let's move on to the case. One thing that I do actually usually do before I do all the motherboard and everything is prep the case, but on this occasion I didn't. This is the good screwdriver. Now the one we want to take off is actually the one with the vented ports, because that's the top side. Anyway, what we have here is the case as open it will be. Now to prep the case, we're going to want only a couple of things, not too much. Where did I put the... We want this, the I/O shield. You always want to put that in before you put your motherboard in. If you manage to get this in after you put your motherboard in, tell me how. Because that would be a thing of magic.
Deserve a medal.
You would deserve a medal, yes. Of course, audio ports are always at the bottom.
And you could also
They're
check
right
the
on the motherboard. So, as you can see, just line that up and push it in. Will require a bit of force if lined up properly. If lined up properly. If not, next thing I'm going to do is put the motherboard in and get that wired up, just so that it's out of the way. Actually, one thing I forgot to
move that
is remove the bar. These are mainly in the case to keep the case a bit more rigid. Wherever you'd need the case to be more rigid, I do not know. It's also good for mounting hard drives, and this specific one is actually had the optical drive cage mounted to it, but of course there's no optical drive in this system. We ain't about that life.
Any about that legacy hardware?
Nah. He knows because he has my Facebook, and on my Facebook I always complain about optical drives being legacy. Another thing you'll have is these little things that go over the HDMI ports and whatnot. They will get in the way of putting your motherboard in. They're a right pain in the arse. But you move them out the way. We need to screw in the motherboard. Now, usually you'll get screws that come with the case. I probably have some, but I also have screws that are just like sitting in my screw bowl. And you want to make sure the motherboard is screwed in firmly with at least one screw before going on to the other ones. So this one should keep the motherboard in place. As you can see, this board, this case rather, does not actually come with any room for PCIe covers. For whatever reason, I don't know, but it's not exactly
like a home theatre PC, isn't it?
Yeah, this is more for a HD PC, which is what I was hoping this would be. But my idea with the drive, as you can see, that's the bottom of it. It has to be mounted like this. Can you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
like we can't put the cables here.
Cable from that underneath it, don't you?
Yeah. What I'm going to do is we're going to want this resting on this side, so it's easier to access the cables once we put the drive in place. Thank you. But this has to be like that. So that we can get the power connector in. Once you get it in.
Sure you got it in the right way?
Yeah, it's in the right way.
The epic
Hold on,
struggle to
hold on.
install the hard drive.
What we'll do, this cable is crap. Yeah, hopefully this one will be better. Unfortunately, this is the one that you usually use to attach all of the optical drives with, because it's also got the Molex and your floppy power cable. As you can tell here at the IT Mafia, we don't always do everything exactly the most conveniently.
Everything is improvised.
Not really. Some things are planned. This video wasn't.
No.
It was planned by Macaulay saying, "Can I use your toilet please?" Me saying yes, and oh look, I got all my shit, do you want to film a video?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. What we need is the CiT now. It comes in a packet like that, you can tear it open.
CiT is amazing.
Yeah, I can agree with that, CiT is pretty fast. I would love more PCIe mounted drives.
Yeah, but the SSDs are rather expensive, aren't they? So.
Oh yes, they're not over expensive.
Are they? How much are they going for?
Price. I couldn't tell you a price per gigabyte. Now you may have wondered I've done that without connecting, like screwing in the drive. Well, that's because I need to mount this under here. And we'll sort out how this is all coiffed in a second. Actually, we'll do it now. But I want like the least amount of cables in the way of that fan as possible. Probably the best thing to do is tuck it all right here, because that's really going to be in the way of the fan. I can't get a cable tie in there. Bit short for time, I'm afraid. Gonna have to edge things along a little bit quicker.
Just do it all sketchily and that'll do.
Never.
Boom, PC, the ghetto way.
The getaway. I wasn't even aware there was one.
Called doing it the wrong way.
There's no such thing as doing it the wrong way. Build a PC, it works, it's done. That's the end of it.
Yeah, just build it by putting the thermal paste on.
Well, it has thermal paste
Definitely
pre-applied.
not the ghetto way.
It has thermal paste pre-applied.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I never knew that.
Fair enough. Now we have the SATA cable in. We've managed all the cables above the PSU so that won't get in the way. So that's all that. Now here we have the Mac Daddy of power, the 20 plus 4 pin. Not cool plus 4 pin because you have the 4 pin that comes off. Anyway, that goes in here. Sorry if you can't see it the best. Nothing's angled or planned in advance. That's in, surprisingly. That's in. No click or anything.
Just done really sketchily.
Just a sketchy PSU, what are you going to do? Yeah.
Then we've got all this shit to deal with.
This is the 4 pin for the motherboard, which is all the way over here.
Does it even reach?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right.
It reaches, I just want to know how I'm going to cable manage it. What I reckon I'm going to do is get this behind.
Just hook it round there and just leave it.
See what the furthest thing away is that we can hook it behind, and then hook it in there.
Brilliant. That'll work.
It always does. We got
So is that for the
Molex.
Yeah, that one needs to be plugged
That'd be
into
for the front fan. Can't wait to hear this thing.
It's gonna be loud as fuck.
It is.
Have you pre-installed the rest of the HDD?
What?
Are you pre-installed the rest of the HDD? Or?
Oh no, there's no OS on the hard drive at the moment.
Just install XP.
No.
All this stuff.
I'm not sure if XP would work with this
Should do.
APU. Like, yeah, it would work, but
wouldn't be working the best it can. Oh,
no, it's just drivers. Like, I'm not sure they
Yeah.
need any for XP.
fair enough.
Alright, we need another Molex.
Crap. How many more?
Yeah, we do.
You got this?
Yeah.
No, that comes off the fan. It'll work.
Yeah, if it works, I'm not arguing.
If it fits, it works. Done.
Pretty much. If it doesn't explode, it's done. That's the criteria. Done, doesn't explode. Right, here we have the front I/O, the power switch, the reset switch, and the hard drive LED. This is the power LED. It's hooked directly into the PSD. Now, we need to find where the front I/O is.
I think it's probably under the spurred nest.
Probably. And at this point, we resort to the manual because
No, it's not under there.
I have the exact same thing with mine.
Yeah.
I have a version of this motherboard for my current PC. It's a Pentium G system, and the front I/O for the MSI motherboard's so stupid because they use this. If you go over here, they use this, which is labelled as JFPI or JFP2, JFP1, 2,
Not even.
and yeah, it's basically hooked up like that. So what we have to do
So is this stuff on?
is make a mental image of that,
It'll be that. That's what I think anyway.
and then find it in the case under the term of JFP1. If you could move, I could find it.
Jeez, she's so demanding. It's gonna move like that or there. Be one of them.
Right there, JFP1.
That's gonna be a pain to get in.
Yeah, be less of a pain if, again, there weren't two heads in the way of it.
You know what we should have done? Installed that before we made that bird's nest.
Shut up. I am never wrong. But,
You are in this instance.
there's a power switch, positive, negative, I can get that in now. Power switch. Actually, we want to do the bottom ones first, don't we? It's the reset switch and hard drive LED. This isn't the best thing to film, because I cannot see when he has his hand in the way of the light. And
There we go. Sketchy filming, Jesus shaking.
that makes it worse, because that's the arrow. Arrow is positive. And positive is on the right.
Fun of building in a tiny PC case.
I know. This is what I do for fun.
Your idea of fun is warped, mate.
What?
So it's warped. I would never want to build in that shit. Too small. Hands are too big.
You're just not about that life.
Ain't about that life. I like big cases.
I know. I've seen your light show.
Even with the most gamery case on the planet.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to cable manage it now. I'll cable manage it after I've guaranteed it can boot. And there's the front USB.
The USB's there, so.
Underneath the hard drive.
Maybe
I got this.
push it in there and then just shove it through.
Hold on, we'll do the back end first.
Oh, that'll work.
That's what she said. And stiff cables are the worst thing in the history of cable management. The stiffer the cable, the harder it is to manage. Fun fact, in my system, the... What the fuck? Are you caught on yourself? In the history of USB, how the fuck did you manage that? When a cable gets caught on itself, I just don't fucking know. But I guess that's the issue with headphones.
That is very true.
There's audio. There's like no fucking light when you do that.
I can't do a move anymore, that's the only way I can get a camera angle.
Alright, that's the HD audio, is just there, above the solid head capacitors.
It's a nice sketchy way of filming the server.
Yep.
1 second on the camera, next second on the phone. Should have charged the batteries first.
I did actually.
Did you?
Yeah, shit battery. That's supposed to be filming in 720p 60 FPS.
Now we're filming this piece
So
of
we'll
shit.
see how that worked out.
So from this piece of shit to
Yep.
this piece of shit.
Nothing works ever. So anyway, that's that all hooked up. Now what we're going to do...
Oh crap, now comes the setting it up.
Setting it up part's the funniest part, because I plan to use that monitor,
Oh, well, that little piece of shit.
the little one, but to power the PC I have to unplug that.
Well, that's going to be fun. I'll pause it. I'll pause the recording for now and come back when it's set up.
We have the system hooked in, power it on.
After 10th time of trying to turn it on.
Sure. Feed them your lies. Airflow is good.
Tiny fan.
We want to make sure the monitor's actually turned on.
Should you get the right monitor? Or is it on
Can
that
you
one?
not trip over my audio cable,
Crap.
please?
Got too many cables over the fucking floor.
Brr, 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 brr. It works.
Boots.
It does boot. But it does need an actual thing with an ISO on it.
Come back next week for more fuck ups while building a PC.
Well, anyway, that's the PC built. That's everything done. This has been Daniel from IT Mob UK.
And Mac, yeah, I'm the cameraman.
Like the cameraman.
The only thing I'm good for.
Quite cry. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Please give us a like. We will be doing more tech videos, hopefully with a bit more banter, and hopefully a bit more HD actually slipped into it somewhere. So anyway, thank you and goodbye.